See how this turns out. And welcome to FSX-Dangerous Alps, the number 4th and last in this series. Actually, in the mission here, we have to drop off our last medical supplies for the month, and it's the end of the month. So the mission coincides with reality in that sense. We also have some along a photographer in this mission, so it's all about the scenery, and that's where I'm staying in the Maule because the Maule has these, doesn't a lot of views, but it has.
Get set up and take off, then climb through 200 feet.
But the Maule has these wing views that seem to really do well with, you can see with resolution. Anyway, so there we go. And let's talk about the upgrades to Aosta, Italy that I've done. Look at this. I am kind of proud of being able to take, when I ended up with duplicate sceneries, but some of them had different stuff from things from like some missions and some the free scenery that came from AV Sim or Flight Sim, which is in the documentation. The actual scenery that's on this airport, and then some that would come from some other mission or somewhere, and, that had these buildings from the city. And then you had the standard ones that came with the standard scenery that came with this Photoreal that has some. And between that and some other French airports I had a kind of mixture and a hodgepodge of some buildings were stacked on top of each other and duplicates, and I got it all straightened out and really kind of put together a cool looking little city here. That's the fun of it. That's the fun, and now I'm proud of how this looks. And I learned how to take out duplicates and things, and actually got a utility that will actually show duplicates too. That's a different story for another time. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on that. But whether to use that or not, to find your duplicate. And it improves, obviously going to improve efficiency of the sim, so not having more things to weed through. Anyway, this mission, I've got doing some experimental views. I'm displaying there. That's how the sounds, you get the sounds with this. That's active. Is that AccuFeel, which is new to me relatively. Most of my earlier videos don't have it because I only bought it about a month and a half or two ago. So the last few trips do have all of this series that have it, and some before. Anyway, so this is a lot about scenery, but it's also there's this photographer supposed to be in the mission that we have with us, and so the route is especially made for trying to be supposed to be for scenery. So hopefully we're going to enjoy some nice views and a nice flight. It's not going to be easy. This stuff may look easy, but it's not. I love those. Look at the little. It's worked out. I got a yellow like plane trailer there or something.
Ground Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey November. Request taxi for takeoff, departing straight out. Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey November. Taxi to and hold short at runway 27. Using taxiway Charlie Alpha Hotel. Contact tower on 900.905 when ready. Taxi hold short runway 27 via taxiway Charlie Alpha Hotel. Maule, Hotel Whiskey November.
I'm gonna drive us over there real slow and taxi real legal. These buildings back here, all this industrial area that wasn't there before. And kind of show you something in a minute. I think since we're close here to where I don't have where we're really close to where I don't have some photoreal right at the edges of where my photoreal runs out. I have a very little here in Italy. Happen to be lucky enough to have this part of it, and you get we're getting some bleed through in areas as far as autogen, so therefore we get these trees and all that stuff at the bottom. But a lot of these trees are in this photoreal that happens to be part of this the guy's package. I think it's Robbie or somebody. It's in the description of where this airport, that does not include these big city buildings. All this airport part is, I mean, all this hotel and stuff is all part of it, but not those big buildings. Tried to do it before, but I might have missed. I need to make sure I give credit to both, where I got both of them. I know at least one of them's in there. The plane is really standard, or it comes with flight simulator. Happens to be using this medical skin. They're at Airport Regional Valle d'Aosta. I don't know how to say all that, of course. In the proper Italy slang. That hotel up there, it's on the hill, that's not part of the standard. Or part of this airport. It's part of the second place I got this from, but I have to find out where. It's like, yeah, so if you know your stuff and get your layers, you get... I'm actually going to work on that in Sedona. I've got like two or three places that scenery's coming from, and it's a mess. Kind of like this was, but it's even harder. It's been hard to figure out. I've been spending some time on it in Sedona, Arizona, because I'm going to do a video in Arizona for kind of like for my family friends. So I'm like fly over their neighborhoods and stuff, and areas that we used to go to as kids, and maybe they'll watch the video just to check it out. The photoreal I have runs out right south of Phoenix, though, and that's a bummer. I wished I had more all the way through Arizona, but it runs out south of Phoenix. In fact, it only has like half a south mountain. Part of the west side is done, and then the east side's not, and the south side's not. This here is really nice. So next time I will have my thing together. I've got to start.
Tower, Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey, November, ready at runway 27, departing straight out. Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey, November, cleared for takeoff. Runway 27, straight out departure, approved.
We gotta start having these guys' names available.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 27,
Put in the
Maule,
bit to
Hotel
put,
Whiskey, November.
you know, in the video as well as in the credits. Anyway, not about me, it's about this flight. I'm trying these wing views. They're really working out well for. I might use this plane in the future in different liveries, you know. I like it. There's an off blue color to do some other flights. I usually try to do a different plane and stuff to have variety, but I'm going to start picking planes based on how well they do with filming in some cases, you know. Of course, not always. There'll be other reasons why not to. But clearly, spot view is now my, you know, our free mountain with the spot view. Oh, terrible takeoff here. It is becoming my, even though it has a lot of great value for some good views, it appears to me that FSX has the hardest time rendering in that mode because of, you know, I get more tendencies for blurry things to happen, and probably you can notice that in this. You know, as you can see here, I'm trying to avoid too much showing of not photoreal, but this is the very corner, this little corner on the left. You see that there's standard, just snowy looking land. We're gonna go around and view this scenery a little bit. Before we take off to the hopefully we'll get some good shots. I may, depending on how it goes, I may show some bloopers of the 2 times I tried to do this mission and complete it successfully and did not do it successfully. I'm going to show a few bloopers at the end of this flight that were the first time I tried it. I got all the way, I'm almost to the end, and we're doing the drop off of the medical supplies, and I didn't get that airport. It's a hard airport, that dangerous landing. This was a little bit too fast, and I was, a few more feet I would have been stopped, but I just kind of crawled right up the side of the mountain and flipped over. I didn't get slow enough. Yeah, that's the bleed through I'm talking to. That right there, effect of those little snowy trees are the only time you'll see a lot of autogen trees with photoreal, but it's not prepped for it. There's a little bit of bleed through on the edges. Lights do that too. These things, there's no night textures for the photo for most photoreal, and I don't do it twice. Some does, but around edges and things, at certain times the lights will bleed through from the scenery that's underneath, you know, from a layer below it. have it. Aosta, Italy, folks.
Maule, Hotel Whiskey
With
November.
the best free scenery I could find. Well, I didn't search that hard, but I don't know. Actually, I don't know. I got that a while back. I think during the previous load when I had the boxed version before it crashed, and then Microsoft would not reactivate it for me. It crashed, and I had a backup, and yet the backup actually the restore revealed issues with Windows backup and using an external drive. You use an external drive and use Windows backup, which is most people don't know it's a very good backup and reliable once you understand it, that it's a differential backup and how to manage the occasionally wipe out all the files and start over, so you don't have just keep on accumulating a big huge differential. Anyway, so, but you can't use an external for two different machines because it ends up wiping out the previous backup's data file stuff with the other one, and so your image might be okay, but you lose a lot. So that's how I got scrambled, and I couldn't use my restore, had to start over, and they wouldn't relicense it, and that's how I ended up buying the Steam version. I hope they don't ever do that, because Flight Simulator's been such a long-term hobby for most of my life, just messing around with it a little bit at a time. Sometimes I went a long period without playing it, but I messing with it, and I came back to it, and anyway, it takes a lot of work to get your system all working right and tweaked to how you like it, and get these airports looking like that. The ones that I had well, it should be that it doesn't matter. It should be that even if they decided they weren't going to support it anymore, they shouldn't be able to take it away from your ability to play it. I think there'd still be a way for you to keep your copy, right? Even if they decided they weren't going to support it anymore. Nice scenes here. I think nothing real special, but I like how I can tell there's little mounds, the different elevations, those mounds down there. Again, we're still hugging the left a little bit, but we're about to break into being able to do 360-degree views with all photoreal surrounding us. I forgot to set up the GPS. Oops. Pre-flight check failed. Gonna say, because of these views and the PC working good and the resolution looking pretty good throughout most of this, I think this is gonna be, I have to claim this to be one of the best scenic and photoreal I think I've done so far visually. And I like this plane is really real. You really feel it. It's real realistic to fly. And that, you know, you can bouncing around the wind that gets you. And it's where we just did the Pilatus on that. I just did the Pilatus on number 1 and number 2, which I think I just took 2 offline because I apologize, my mic was so off and I was all tired. And, oh my gosh, you can't barely hear me through a lot of it. I've been edited off some of the, I'm put it back out there, but it's kind of like ignoring any narration, that's for sure. Not all of it. It's not all that bad. It gets better, but at the beginning it's kind of terrible. So we keep having to go up these valleys and then back down to hit the waypoint. But it's all about is like, it's all about teaching you how, you know, what you're going to deal with going over or going through, you know, going through these valleys. So we do a little bit of both. But for sure, we're forced to. In some cases, to go way up, just have to come back down and then back up. And on my first couple attempts, oh boy, maybe in this one too, there's, like I said, some of the bloopers, maybe we'll find them where I just almost kill us. And you can't, but you know, you run into trouble if you don't get enough altitude fast enough. You can't turn around in these valleys. You can, but you have to, you know, be careful too. Somebody's farm up there. Waypoint 7. They're labeled that way, but they're not necessarily the 7th plane, obviously. This is our first or second. Most times it gets squirrely there. So you turn off the autopilot because you can't necessarily trust. I mean, you can't necessarily be exact on those waypoints, and you've got to hit them. So I should have taken off autopilot way before that and just been flying it. Telling you, this wind is knocking me around. And it's not going to get better. Not sure what the heck am I doing. Just 100. I think I'm confused. We gotta go way up here. We gotta get altitude. So I was very bummed about the 2 first attempts because on both of them, especially the first one, the very first one, it was like I didn't get the nice pictures of the airport like this, you know. And it's like, I've got some really nice views and had some really nice flight experiences. And you get them on tape, and it's like, whoa, oh, look at there. I almost kill us right here. Look at that. Oh my God. Because those right-hand views or whatever. Trying to fly and not being a great pilot and manage photography at the same time, I get in trouble. Especially when I'm experimenting with these offside wing views. And trying to fly at the same time, and if I get disoriented about whether I'm going straight or not, that's like one of the problems. Oh, that was a close one. I nearly called it 4th attempt. 4th or 5th attempt. I think I did make a couple other ones that I didn't make it very far. I did at all, and just, oh, I'll forget that. Start over. From something similar like that, I almost ran inside of it. Where I did run inside of this mountain while I'm trying to film and messed up. Jet isn't working. Didn't even test it. not going to make it on the first attempt to get, we don't have enough altitude. Gotta try to find the updraft. Plus, we're supposed to stay away from clouds. Doesn't really want to discourage just going into clouds in the VFR flight there. Not a good thing to get caught behind when you're in the mountains. No. So let's go back around. A lot of times, I found in the first attempt to say, "Oh, I missed the waypoint," but actually turning around turned out to be a thing to do. Really, it's like turn around, check out the areas around the waypoints. Sometimes that's what it's all about, right? It's all about the touring. So like this, if I hadn't turned around, so you get different perspectives. Like, oh, there's a lot of nice views to be had. A lot of nice flying to be done around some of the areas, both waypoints and not. So that's what we're doing. We're just enjoying. This is a really nice. There's a big old dried up glacier there. A little water, a little lake up there on the edge of it still. Oh, there's the lake. About as close as I'll ever get to actually being able to fly it and see the Alps. So. From these kind of a perspective. Wind is just blowing me all over the place. Trying to find like an updraft or whatever, climb. I think there is one right up here. This is where the work comes in, trying to get altitude up there. It can be pretty tough sometimes. Since on this run, the thing that's always dynamic about flight simulators is, it's never exactly the same any flight, because you're never quite sure, even if the weather's of the same type. This time I got more clouds here. We got a lot of clouds at the top of this one side that weren't there on a previous run. Yeah. And so because I've seen and I've already driven around the other side and haven't, I'm going to take us around, instead of just trying to climb that to the left of us and get over right away. And because this is about sightseeing, I'm gonna go a different way. See, all those clouds were not in the valley or at the top. That ridge right in front of us, right, not right to the left there that we just, the dry one I just talked about, but where all the clouds are. We're supposed to get over the top of that. Man, and there's wind, and it's not easy trying to get over this 10,000 marker has been, but we got it now. We got a nice updraft. Trying to ride that wave like an eagle here. Really beautiful. We're barely moving fast enough. Climbing every inch I can without stalling. Check, is that pitot heat on? If you don't have the proper amount of mixture, that's pretty good actually for up here. Even going a little lighter way up here. And the pitot heat on and stuff, you don't get enough power. So it's a struggle. That's how you get the engine to have enough power to keep climbing. But I'm trying. Getting up there. Wait a minute. Thought I was taking a different way around. Yeah, we're not even up there yet. We're not even close to that actual ridge. That's up there on the left. You can see through the GPS. We're heading for the meaning of the pink and white lines there. Pink line is our current leg. And that, folks, is way up there. Look at that. We're still, what am I at? 10,600. And we're still not high enough. And I've turned around and I'm just like, what this time? It's like the worst wind right now this time than on the previous attempt. Previous 2 attempts. So every time I try it, the weather gets worse. So yeah, I usually keep on trying and get up there. So on the first attempt, I came right up the edge and couldn't make it, so barely could turn around without, before it stalled. And got a little more height and eventually got over it. But this time I'm really having a tough time. And I've never gone this way. And I noticed that, maybe he had it planned that way. That was part of the plan to come around this way. I don't really know, but it was really kind of cool when you peek over the top the other way, because that's where a whole different thing of scenery comes into play. But we'll see that anyway, because I'm confident by this third time that I should be able to do this. And again, this is about actually checking things out, so what the heck, it's all exploratory. And I'm spending a little time to do that. Let's go skiing. Maybe we should go skiing off that mountain. Wayne's got skis. So you see, you can't necessarily just hit the straight line and go where the GPS tells you, because you got a lot of altitude. So we'll just kind of squeak over the top of this thing. Top of this monster mountain, and see if we can get over there as soon as possible. Look at monster mountains. Anybody saying hello? Probably not. I'll just shut up here and let the scenery speak for itself. Let's stop at that lake and go fishing. Whoa. apologize. Sometimes when I get to jumping around, it's because I wanted to get a certain view, and then I click too far or whatever, and then I have to click a couple of extra times to get back. So yeah, that up there, I was just pointing at. This pointer's at 10,500. I'm looking for the pointer or the waypoint marker. Fly through. Anyway, that's the tip. That's the other side of where all those clouds were, and what we would have come over the top of. Which I'm going to go around and just kind of show. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and go back there, since we've got all kinds of altitude now. It's funny how the other side of it, though. And if we get to the other side, it starts pushing us down again. I don't know. We'll see. Because here I'm not having that much. Now it's like I'm getting a lot of altitude without that much problem. We could have been that high over there, we would have been right over the top. So we came around all the way around the tip of this mountain. Oh, so the clouds didn't actually come all the way up here. They were just blocking the... It's getting really hard to stay up here. Oh, I didn't see this. I never saw this before. Come and see the other way. Sometimes it pays to take your time and look around a little more. I didn't see any of this before, even though I can't, because I just barely made it over the top of that other, and then, came down the other way. That first attempt, I just barely made it over the top of this. You should never really actually fly that way in reality like I did on that other one anyway. Never really be that iffy. You can't get plenty of altitude up here, then you back off until you do. Back off and get more altitude, get more altitude. It's always the best advice before you even get close to these dangerously high spots. Because you'll be going along and you think you're fine, next thing you know, oh my god, I'm on the side of this thing. Yeah, right there. That's kind of, except for a little farther, whatever, south, east. Right, yeah. So I kind of popped over the top the first time. You go, But this actually is better. There's a better view of all the way around it. Plenty of altitude. Now we've got to get this, where is the waypoint marker? I'm already, what? I'm at, what am I doing? I'm at 11,000 and I need to be at 10.5. It's 0.7 of a mile in front of it. These things don't show up, it's like they're not in view till, geez, it's like, where is it? Oh man, it's got too low. I wasn't watching. Gonna miss it now. I'm struggling to try to gain altitude to get it. Oh no, I made it. That was bad. That was really bad. Everybody's got their stomach in their throat and having lunch a second time after all that bouncing around up there. I'm kind of messing with a different view, and I can't believe I still have my... Cannot believe I have... Oh, no, I just put them on. We got to go down, 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 down. Fast. Because, wouldn't you know it, the next waypoint is at 3,500 feet, so I'm going to go all the way down in the valley again. Avoiding the clouds. No, those clouds weren't there on the previous run either. Well, they weren't there as thick. There was some. But you could see the river down there. Or there's a lake down there and a dam, I think. It's covered up this time. Alps and something up there. Oh, France. I have to show off some pretty dynamic autogen in Paris in an upcoming flight. This has a separate, it got like a separate autogen engine just for when you get to Paris. It builds all the city buildings. What appears to be the right spots. Really kind of neat, and it does appear to work, over the top of the photoreal too. Yeah, I think the reason I can't remember some of the scenery and some of this stuff is because I actually got some of this stuff. This stuff's only available on France sites that were completely written in French. I think there's some guys in France did a lot of work and stuff, but of course, I can't do. I just was barely able to interpret how to download, how to get to some of this stuff. And there was some scenery. I think that was the one. There was one I messed with, LFLG or something this year in France, and I had gotten some off of that France site, and it turned out that it didn't work. I was like having problems because it was really only for 2004. And then there was some other stuff that's 2004 that worked, but I found it as duplicates at some point, and then I was getting rid of duplicates, and I said, get rid of that one because it was bitmaps instead of DTS. Got BMP files instead of DDS files, so I knew right off the bat. Didn't matter. I'm going to get rid of the 2004 stuff because it doesn't. With my older PC, I need everything to run as efficiently as possible. And got DDS extensions compiled, or bitmaps compiled for Flight Simulator. It have MIPS and all this weird techo stuff. MIP maps and we got to the point of learning to with these 2004 planes, I was attempting. People have issues with it came up on. I'm sure it's come up in the history, the long history of bulletins and subjects where talked about our planes that are made for 2004 that have been converted to work with FSX, but they will not work if you use FSX and DX10 mode. They will work, but their textures are gray or white. They don't, meaning they just look like the bare model. And so, but you can still take those, and they're bitmaps and convert them to DDSs. So when you're running in FS9 mode, when you're running DX9 mode, they work fine. But you can make them run more efficiently, even as they are, by converting the bitmaps to DDS files. But since they didn't have those MIP maps or these other another layer they talk about, they're not going to have any when they get converted. They're just more efficient processing, and they don't and it doesn't fix the paint problem on DX10 because they say it's in the model, it's not in the textures. Something with the model, it's made in a certain way, I guess. You can't do it. You either can't do it, or you can be done, but you actually have to work on the model, but instead of just making textures, I guess, paint jobs. So at one point I had my system when I was dealing with AI traffic and stuff. It's like you got a lot of world of AI traffic, and a lot of those planes are made in 2004 only. And I must have been known it at one time, so I was in DX9 mode, and the airports were just so cool because I'd gotten rid of the default traffic that files that Flight Simulator comes with by default that have them doing. Planes do screwy stuff. They're not really coordinated. They'll like fly right into each other or over each other. They don't really have serious flight plans corrected. Whatever. So you get all the world of AI stuff, and it's really great. And then all of a sudden I was like, why do I have all these white and gray planes all around all the time? I was like, oh, I was running I want to run in DX10 mode for the most part, because it's, for those people that don't know, say, well, it's just a preview mode. Well, it's actually just functioning for DX10. It's just it was a preview because the little bit of functionality that it was allowing in Flight Simulator at the time. But once you click that button, you know, it's able to do anything that you can make, you know, make Flight Simulator do. And the big improvement between 10 and 9 was a huge improvement between what you can do with the looks of the plane looking real rather than like a, you know, toy animation. And plus so many ways that it makes, you know, it run better. Just like that, it processes bitmaps, just what I was talking about. CDS format. It's like, you get better frame rate to DX10. Anyway, I'm talking about this flight here. It's been pleasant coming down here. To the left of us was Courchevel, and what we just saw on the GPS there is that other airport that's really funky. It's really a hard one to do. At one point, I had it where when it's just bare photoreal elevations, I actually want to go back to that because it, and with the free mesh, if it's just the photoreal elevations, it's got a big hole in it. You can't land there. It's not right. But with the free mesh X elevation corrections, it is right, because this thing goes like, you know, straight. It's had an incline but flat for a while, and then it has this big huge like hill you gotta go up, and that's how it really is. I looked on Google. So once free mesh X is installed, its stuff kind of takes over, and it's more accurate than the obviously than the mesh, the elevations that this photoreal has. And so it's really cool landing just straight without, you know, just straight with the picture of the picture of that's on the photoreal matches where, you know, that hill is perfectly, and where the real one is. So it's not perfect by any means, but, you know, really close. So anyway, somehow I ended up with finally getting some airport that, some free scenery somewhere that actually has a runway. But then it was kind of like, you know, it was in a hole, you know, one of those, you're either in a crater effect or on a big giant plateau effect. And whenever eventually I got that thing straightened out too, kind of like Aosta, it's in like really good shape, but it's definitely within Flight Simulator. That, you know, it's only once they might even be able to put them on an incline in Flight Simulator, but they're still going to be a flat runway. I say runway instead of airport. I keep doing that, noticing that I say airport. It's like I mean runway on the airport. Yeah, it's really nice down there. Oh yeah, and Maribel. The Courchevel and Maribel. Maribel is a mess right now. It's actually, it's one where it's jacked up in the air. There's a runway in the air. While the elevation and scenery that I've got there is, you know, down in the crater. I'll get it fixed up. Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. I think that one, the scenery looks all real nice. I think if I could just get rid of the actual runway, I'll just leave it. I'll leave it to be a, you know, just the picture laid over the ground. And then we'll see if we can land there. Because like I say, all the scenery there, there's some special scenery there and stuff. Just whatever, you know, planes and buildings and stuff, and they're on the ground. I don't know why that. At this point, don't know which one's off. Is the ground level off or is the airport level off? Yeah, figure that out. And can you do anything about it? To this point in mine, it's just like try somebody else's or try a, you know, because I don't have an actual, I have that demo version of the CAD thing, and it actually, before I had the EMB series fixes for all those DX10 flash and building things, I was doing anything that I really wanted to fly to a lot manually, because it does, that demo version will allow that, but that's like one of the few functions it allows, where you can go in and they found that a flash and building thing, the raw fix of it for it, or workaround was raw workaround was go into the file and it would be like if they had, you have either concrete or asphalt or something for in it for parts of your runway and stuff, and if it had both, if you didn't change, if it didn't have both, you just had to like go in and make some apron, any part of it concrete, somewhere where you wouldn't see it or something, and then it would fix it, something like that. And you could do that. You could go in and you could, you know, go place a piece of concrete somewhere or something, and resave the .bgl as a new BGL file. But I'm not deeply into it because of the fact that anyone, you know, didn't have money to be buying the thing, or I might in the future if I ever got that deep in, if I can't, you know. But at this point, I haven't got the time for that level of or desire. Being into things change so fast, stuff with computers that I'm really I have to find out about. Wait a minute, I was saying it's things happen with computers so fast, sometimes it's just not worth, just wait a little while and you'll have something that's better anyway sometimes, but solutions that are better. Anyway, I just heard, and sometimes not, that's why Flight Simulator X has lasted so long, because of its ability your ability to do with it what you can. Now, Flight Sim World is where I started to get off topic there, and coming to mind, I wanted to talk about that. We're switching topics there in the middle of conversation. And anyway, so Flight Sim World, I just heard, has been, they just took it off of Steam from somebody, and I just don't know him. That's like bad news. But I just heard about it. I don't know if that's all legit or not. Gosh, I hope they're. I had high hopes for them to succeed in continuing on with their project, even though I can't participate or buy it because my PC's too old. But I hope they're not just going to stop. We're trying with our videos to show people how cool this is, and if you want to get into that hobby and get into deeper things and make your own sceneries and stuff for your own cities and places you fly around. Trying to show at least myself, just how much you can do even with the old PCs. Just think what you can do with the new faster ones. And better technology to make all this stuff. And it's really not that can get complex, but it's really, you don't have to. You don't have to get all that complex. And flying is not as hard as people can make it out to be. It can, of course, if you want to get real techie about it, it can be, again, that's what's so cool. It can be as really technical as you want it to be, or with Flight Simulator, at least you don't have to be. I'm not. At this point, I still don't. I've just been too lazy to. I keep planning to, but I don't know how to program darn FMC. I'm getting more and more a little bit knowledge about it, but even the first, just I can't even. I now realize some stuff about it that it's like, oh, okay, I get what they're doing there, but I don't know how to actually make it to operate it. Like the first thing, like the origin the other day, I was like, give this a try. Oh, okay, you just go in there and start to do RTE for route and have origin, and I go, okay, so origin. So I press the button next to the word origin. And I can't figure out how to get it to accept any keys for me to enter an origin ICAO. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how to do this. Still. And it's really ridiculous because I've been doing this for so long. I just get sidetracked into other aspects. And I will figure that out by when, I don't know, sometime I'm just happen to take another look at it and go back to basics. Somebody's basic video here, enter, power button is here. Those are a couple of, that's the hill I need to go or become. Actually, I know quite a bit about the rest of flying, but that one is the hill I gotta climb, including the difficulties of what makes it involved is knowing the technology or knowing what you're wanting behind your bike. All the planning part of your fuel and your load, knowing how to do that. If you're going to plan horizontal elevation change or vertical waypoints and stuff like that. you know, you think a little about weight and whether you can fly. A lot of stuff about, you know, the physics of flying that I don't know either. So I wouldn't know how to plan correctly you know, if we can go this far, put this much fuel in it to go this because of the weather is, you know, the weather is going to be this. Anyway, I'm just really off topic on this whole thing. not even talking about the scenery. Or the flight here. Much to say really, except for that it's really beautiful. And that it's really, this is a really fun flight. It is not easy. Not super hard, but it's not easy. And I obviously have not, oh boy, that's the last thing I wanted to have, is the telephone to ring in the middle of a stream. That's great. Neat. Yeah. I didn't do this in the first run. I'm glad I got this much elevation this time. We kind of just go right up the center of this thing and have valleys on both sides. That first one was the hardest one we had to go over. This is the second the hardest one. No, this one, well, we're up there, but this one isn't hard at all. Well, when I blew it on the second attempt, it's on the way. It's as we're actually getting close to the airport, to the airstrip, I would call it, that we're going to deliver these medical supplies to. Don't cut the grease, and I stall it and we're down. Yeah, if you want to see the mess, Courchevel and a mess that was just on there, it's on flight number 1, Dangerous Airport's number 1. I land there. But that's where I have it, where I have an airport that I put there from sceneries from somewhere, and it has situation with the runway in the air too at that point. Now, right now, if I take it to another one, it doesn't. It now has land. It's now land underneath there correctly. So I'll have to be doing another flight to show that done correctly. So actually, a lot of the future videos should be better. All my videos should be always get a little bit better some way, because I'll learn something if I'm taking the time. And so I like now it's like I'm disappointed, like in some of my older videos where it's like, oh, if I would have known what I know now, and we could have fixed up a couple of things to make them just a whole bunch better. See this, I really like these wing view sites, how high def and clear that is. I mean, you can see the rocks and stuff pretty, not too, pretty small rocks pretty clearly. But if I was trying to do this in spot mode, which so many planes really only have that for an option, to have this kind of a free look around mode, it's just, the system is so much more blurrier. Even if there's spot mode in this plane, but I just kind of avoid it now. As far as when I'm filming, I don't mind the little bit longer that it takes to get the high def in that mode, or the occasional blurry that comes up in that mode when I need it and I'm just flying and not filming. It's not a huge deal. Unless I'm really I'm really touring and I want to see something clearly, and then I'm like, come on, I don't want to see it blurry, I want to see that clearly. And these views, these three views, both this tail view and the right and left wing view, my camera just does a whole bunch better. Look at that, just so much clearer, much high def than I've been able to get before. So I'm taking note of that, and if I have some other flights that I can't get this kind of resolution, I may be either coming to use this plane, or I will figure out how to. I do know I did it, but I've only done it a couple times. Actually, or done it once. Actually, adding different views to planes. And I am going to be looking into that more, because I want to add views that I know work well with filming to any plane that I put into a film. So we had to raise all the way up there to get through that one, and coming down, or just to get over the hill, come down here to waypoint 5, down at 3,500 feet. Doing this at a strange time in the middle of the weekday, because I am sick, puppy. I am down. So while I'm hanging out here, half sick in bed, I'm doing live streams of Flight Simulator. The day when nobody's watching, because everybody else is working. And nobody will probably see this video, which is, my narrating here today is awful, but the video is really good. Probably just shut up, huh? Let the video speak for itself. I want to share that I found. Oh, I should have the name. Well, anybody can comment if they really want it. Find it for them later. I found a live stream that's live streaming the cockpit of a train by the guy who runs the train. So you're like right there up front as the train is live traveling and, you know, delivering whatever they're delivering. It's really awesome. I love it. Because that's real, you know, it's real world too. And these kind of things are sometimes like jumping in a car at night. If I would shut up here myself and not be, I imagine I'm the most annoying thing about these videos. Because if I wasn't in it talking, it'd be like that train guy. He doesn't talk or say anything. And you can just watch those, and I can and feel like I've like hopped in a car or on a train and get sleepy, and helps me to go to sleep at night. Sure, you don't see it when you're sleeping, but you see parts of it when you're. And if you wake up, sometimes just helps me zone out. Kind of like, you know, the baby's restless. Let's take him for a drive in the car. That's why you find me yawning a lot, I think. Getting tired when I'm making these videos. So a lot of times it was like there's like, oh, I'm in there, man, play. You know, I'll be doing a live stream and then crash inside the mountain because I just passed out. Made it through that one and back up to 5,800 for the next one. But I bet we got to be higher than that. Anybody tell me if the music's loud enough, or, you know, is that background music? I've kind of put it really low. I didn't want it to. Don't want it to overpower the engines and the sounds of the flight and the wind. I also kind of like to really look the background at times. Just like everybody puts background music in their videos for some reason. I got a few like not real missions like this one, just missions that I'm actually creating, just not really missions, just the flights that I want to, that I have kind of, as I get more familiar with this area through some of these missions that I'm doing, and sometimes after the flight I've taken off and gone a little different directions in the snow. I've got a few places that myself I've discovered that I should just make into, you know, videos going from here to here. That one from, we were supposed to go from, I think it was Aosta to Raron. But you don't make it to Raron because the Mooney engine blows up and you end up having to stop at Sion on it. or Sion. Maybe they call it Sion. And so anyway, so I took off after the mission was done. We glide into Sion successfully. You can't take off again. So later on, I just kind of reset and went on to see, well, where was Breron? And, what we missed. And I ended up in some glaciers that are really cool, and they're different than these ones. Really different. I already decided I didn't have enough height for going around, but enough altitude to keep height. Speak, plain speak. Didn't have enough altitude, so it's gonna go around and gain a little bit more. And by doing that, we'll see some other scenery in ways that we probably wouldn't have seen before. No, it's I love how the shadows are correct. Sometimes they're not. Coming down the Mariichi, no, I'm just kidding, valley, we have a waypoint marker in the bizarrest place. It's going to put our lives in danger. So hold on, folks, Mr. Photographer. And I have revealed we have obviously some elevation issues or issues with water when it comes to being this low. Pretty hard for it to have the proper elevation at all levels, I guess, or whatever. It's only so accurate, right? So we have water halfway up the sides of the hill. With this and the marker, like making us fly right next to there. Get out of there. Making us almost smash up against the mountain. If that had been off any more, any closer, we might not have been able to make it. Well, that's special. No special FSX anomalies. So 7.1 miles to, this is our unlisted airport. It's likely put in here by the mission developer. And we don't know what we're going to see. And this is where I better get my thing together, because this is where up here it's gotta get to 72. I'm only at 70. This is where we could crash big time. This is where I crashed one of the times. One of the other attempts. Got this far, and then we have a tendency to stall through here. So it's like, make sure your mixture is, I'm pretty sure I'm already at 35. Make sure your pitot heat's on. And you may even have to use some carb heat, which is the H key. Yep, look, I'm stalling. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. But I gotta pull this out. There's no way we can make it up there. Just don't even try. It's like, get out. I'm just barely saving our lives. Look at how close we are to dying. Yowzer. Man. I'm sure everybody's saying their Hail Marys about right now. And I'm going to try to take advantage of this upswing and the wind that's coming this way that was pushing us down. Now push us up, maybe, if we get... And there I am, fixing my mixture to 35. That's what I thought. I thought it was at 35 already. And you can't gain much altitude. Adjustments are necessary. Must be necessary. That was scary. That was almost another death. But we got a handle on it now. Uh-oh. Do we? We're stalling. We don't have a handle on it. Really struggling to keep this thing in the air. I should have known better than to try that before the first time. Now I've got some good wind. Got a good updraft. These mountains can be so deceiving. Well, they're like right there. It's like, no, they're like a long way, and they're really, really way up there. Especially about Hawaii, kind of big island. It's like, that's not very big. A big volcano just doesn't look big to me. And it's like, you don't realize it's just going up and up and up and up and up. That one's real gradual. From afar, like gradual. It's just crazy how high up it is. I was once doing a flight years, decades ago. I think maybe even with FS-2004, where there's and I haven't found them since. I tried once too, to find the place where there's an observatory at the top of one of the islands. Famous high observatory in Hawaii, on one of the Hawaiian islands. And in that scenario, whether it was a mission or not, I don't know. I think it was, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I just decided, we're going to climb up there. Let's go up there. You get up there, and the wind is so harsh that when you get up and you're looking at the observatory, you're essentially flying. You're flying, but you're not moving at all. You're just fighting such a wind just to maintain staying in the same position. It was nuts without getting pushed back, pushed away from you, pushed out of control. And that was the whole challenge: was can you maintain control through extreme high winds. And what's strange about it is if you look at the description and where it says this airport that we're supposed to drop the supplies at, it gives one name that sounds Hispanic or something like that. I'm not thinking of it right now, but then right there it's like Hernandez or Ruiz or something like that, but it's not named that way up here. Look at this nice. I have some nice shots that I don't know if we'll do any more of this afternoon, or from the previous run where I failed. Up closer up here, a little higher up there for these, top of these little tops of the glaciers or whatever. That looks pretty cool. Looks like there's still ice there. It's just water. It's water. Both levels. And there's a patch of somebody that lives. There's a house there. Where else you can see that? There's something. Oh yeah, I keep looking because that looks like some sort of strange facility. Yeah, I'm going. That looks like a cannon, if you ask me. And it's like, did I just discover a secret missile site? I don't know. Maybe. I did. Versoud here on All Things Flight Simulator News. How much can't spend anybody else seen it because nobody watches my videos anymore. Really wondering what the heck that is. That is a big old long, tall structure, and then there's a freaking missile-less looking thing. Way up there on the top of this mountain. So this guy isn't really a farmer up here. He's a secret military base. GR starts with a G on there. I can't read it. Too small. When I have the, you can read the names of the airports in my GPS really good when you don't have terrain on. When you turn the terrain on, it turns it into a cyan color, and I can't see it very well. It's if it's zoomed out. It's zoomed in close. I mean. All these places to go fishing. I always wonder that. I don't know that. Anybody could answer that for me in the comments. Places way up here, like this high, have fish, or is it just like too pure water? I think they do. Have lots of fish. Probably a stupid question. So, here we are, folks. Here comes your medical supplies. If I can find the, now I'm trying to go down too fast. Sometimes I can fly good, but sometimes, especially doing the filming and this and that, I get off. It's like, oops, I didn't start paying attention to what I was supposed to do soon enough, and that's the cardinal sin, right? Cardinal sin of flight is to not be thinking ahead. Everything has to be planned out ahead of time, especially the bigger the plane is. So now I go from too high to too low, and it's like, okay. But again, sometimes my mistakes actually make it to where we get to see things. So what? To see things that we need to see. So there's some planes and buildings down there. Now that would, none of that would come default. And that's sitting on top. I think it comes from the mission. I don't think that comes from with the I don't think the airport's there at all. And not necessarily does it come from the mission. So sometimes these missions give you advice to go down and download, you know, some other, download a scenery, which it may have done or not. Sometimes they do. It's like you're, here's the flights, and then here's a scenery folder to add to your add-on scenery. A lot of times they're that too, for that situation. I think I have a Goblet Techie, that ancient thing, site that I have a mission on that, and they definitely, those kind of ones, I'll go ahead and throw it in the add-on scenery folder and just let it, be, because if it's a special little piece of scenery, and unless a very odd case that somebody else is going to duplicate that. Airport's a different story. That's how you get in trouble when you do sceneries that may have some part of something you want from each of them, but then they both have issues. They're both dealing with that airport, and then you can either get duplicates or elevation conflicts. And worst thing about my research about that kind of came about with this airport thing, and during this little series of doing these, of trying to do this series, was that I seemed to, at one point doing testing, get it all the way down to saying, okay, I've got rid of any of this add-on scenery that I tried to put on. And what's left? Okay, there's something here, still here. And is it coming from the scenery? You know, the photoreal. Did they add this? And in one of the cases, they did. So I said, okay, I should be able to get rid of that. Let's go down to absolutely nothing. Let's make sure, you know, that there should be nothing here. And or go down to the, so you get the default strip that Microsoft would have just had there, even, you know, if it would have had anything at all, depending on where you're at. And I did, and it appears that at that level that Microsoft might even try to use some auto gen to place buildings on the airports, and that's where some of these duplicate buildings were coming from. And I was going, oh, in that case, you can't do anything about it because they're auto-gen. And those are the ones that appear to be the ones that, at a certain level, when you're using any photoreal, you get an auto-gen buildings that they put on there. Their little, you know, well, this is an airport, we're not going to spend much time with, but it's an airport, so they seem to have a little routine to do some auto-gen scenery, whereas where normally auto-gen is different than scenery, right? You get your two different levels that you can set it at in your settings, right? You got scenery and you got auto-gen. You can have them either low to extremely dense, right? And the auto-gen portion I've always thought of was for things not on an airport, mostly out in the city, you know, and these houses and stuff that it puts out there. But you know, and the scenery is different. I understand how that works because somebody can make an airport that has a lot of buildings on it, and if you say low, it won't show all of the buildings that the airport actually has. And more, so if you go extremely dense, then you're putting, you know, if they built it extreme at that level and it's lots of buildings, then it'll show them all. That's the only way it'll show them all. Anyway, so, but it appears that probably to save time, hey, we landed at that short airport successfully. First time, I just barely kind of was going slide. It was too fast. I was too fast, and we just kept going right into the wall there. Almost made it, but I flipped it over and crashed. See these little planes and stuff? This is, yeah, these little static planes from the scenery they put here. that building to the right is a stock library building. All these are stock library buildings. So, but nothing, I think, too special here. But, no, there's a problem right there. There is a problem there. That's what I'm looking at it too. I'm going, there is something not right there. Two different people putting sceneries there. But yeah, oh yeah, I was talking about if it's auto, if they put an auto gen on an airport, and Microsoft it just decides, well, it's an airport, it has a special routine and that's auto gen, and you can't get rid of it. And then so inevitably somebody who makes an airport with all, tries to put the buildings in the right place and all that, well, they're still going to end up running into those auto gen buildings. Which is just so bizarre because it's not supposed to be any problem, because auto gen's not supposed to work with any of these photoreal with the but it still does to a point. It's like really funky. It's just unexplainable to me, that kind of stuff. I mean, you notice even through this is that most of it's not, if there's not auto gen, we're looking at all the photoreal. But if you get down really close or closer, you can still get down really close and see that there's not that much in most places, but then you get closer in cities where they're more popular, you start to see it popping through. At lower levels, you start to see more of it. So some part of AutoGen does get through. It's weird. So anyway, we took our rest, offload our medical supplies, and off to Versoud airport, which is, and then we'll end this little fantasy adventure of being a French Alps medical delivery man, medical supplies delivery pilot. See right there, we've only got like one waypoint in between. And I don't want to go over the top of the mountain. So we'll go around on the 2 waypoints. And the scenery that's at this airport we're coming up to, or that's our final destination here, is going to be just the default that comes, not the default flight simulator, it came with, I believe it came with this photoreal. Or it's one of my, could be one of that French airports that had 15 airports in it. But I don't think so. No, I don't think so. because that's the thing I ran into. Was this one I tried to go get some, see if somebody had made a scenery for it. And I think they did, but it was like all the top of everything, and that one turned out to be like, it was so old and not any good that it was like it was just made out of standard buildings, and it didn't have much of any of it. It was worse than what came with this scenery with the photoreal. So after I'd really fixed up Aosta and spent a lot of work over there, and this one I just decided to take that other one away and leave it with the default, because they don't do a bad job. They're just standard, but they're just standard buildings, and there isn't a lot of traffic or anything like that. As to where some of these other ones is, we have light poles and lights and a lot of other upgrades and planes and things around the airports. But they place them all right. They they're just the standard buildings, but they actually have a lot of them, and they're all placed right. That's kind of a dead giveaway that they, even if I forgot where I got them, that's kind of a dead giveaway on this. That it's in there with the. Oh, that's a dumb statement. I can tell if I've got them when I look at most things, because they're right within the photoreal sceneries folders, and it's only got the photoreal scenery airports that came with the scenery in them, especially France. But other ones that I have, I was breaking things down into state. I've experimented with Arizona and just saying, I can't have all of these airports or sceneries one by one, added it in at another level, and managing all of that, moving around, and in the interface. So with that one, I just decided to take everything after Arizona and put it right in with the photoreal, because it works. You can do that. So I'd be experimenting with breaking things down by state, or big areas that I have. So if I was to do it with France, I would just say, okay, I'm going to put everything about France just in this one folder, and then you don't really have to reactivate more things. You keep that down level, but then you can run into real some management problems, and I think even potentially crash if you have two of the same AFCAD in the very same folder. I was worried about that, but I don't think they do crash. They just I don't know. I don't know about doing that. I don't like seeing that. So it's also one way that if they've got the name in it, to make sure when you're managing it to see it. It's like, that's what I'm kind of doing, turning off one, turning on another. If it says LFLG, which I think is coming up here, I think I have several LFLG, ADAX, and LFLG something. If it specifically is that AFCAD for that airport, I'm not sure what's going on if they're at the same level. That could be real. You don't turn one of them off. That's just not the recommended way to do this. Probably really, that's why they have the level. That's why you get it and say, okay, I got this scenery, and you just put it in its own folder and you add it. And you go into Flight Simulator and add it, put it at the right level, whatever level. I just end up with hundreds of them, So it's like you're naming, if you don't get a naming convention or something, or like Okay, you know, make sure you put the ICAO as the first thing, you know, LFG, and if you can't remember and don't know what that airport name is, and remember it in your brain, which a lot of them are not gonna, you know, put the name afterwards, but at least put the ICAO first, and then you can sort the folder by that. But say do it the other way. Done it both ways. And both of them have their advantages and disadvantages. You have to be careful with that. Here you can see the phone lines running above the forest. Oh, they make those cutouts and the phone lines all along. They still running landlines over there, the Alps. So must be some drive to work from there. Say for all these people that live along these rivers. Excuse me. Been trying to do the American Truck Simulator or Euro 2 Truck Simulator world. They're having a new contest to ship 12 loads of racing parts all around Europe by the end of June, I think, or some third week in June. And so I found out about that, did a couple of runs, until all of a sudden I was in the middle of like trying to do the fourth run, and suddenly kept crashing. Just kept crashing on me. And turned out to be like somebody discontinued one of a mod truck that I had added to that I went ahead and subscribed to off the workshop, a Peterbilt. There's one that I had already ready for ATS that also works on the Euro truck, and I got it because I knew what it was. It was actually kind of, and but I got this other one. There's not really that many trucks yet at the workshop that you can actually get a good truck. There's lots of skins for trucks and things like that, but not a whole lot of. There's like 3 or 4 good ones or something like that, like the Freightliner free one. Anyway, so you get a Peterbilt, but in the Euro trucks, both of these, and anyway, that one of them just turned out says it was discontinued. It's like in the middle of the game, it discontinued it, and it ended up making my game crash, and I wasn't even driving it. But sure enough, I also found it discontinued once I got it completely removed and unsubscribed from it. Actually, I don't know if it's. By that time, I'd already had to cancel. I had to abandon the load. Because it was like, well, I guess I'm done. So, because it would start up and it would play for a minute, but you'd drive it just as soon as you started trying to drive it and move. It would, it was not quite as soon. It's like I drove it for a little bit, then I'll let it drive. So then I'd try it again, and it might crash right away. Just lock up, not say anything, just done. It's like end the task with Windows. So anyway, so I made a video of the second one, and it's kind of a good run. I might stream it, get it turned into a YouTube video. There's little lake spots up here. Just thought I would check it out. I think it'd be a little detour. This flight's almost over. But those guys go fishing a lot. I know it's only flight simulator, it's not the real. I watched people's of real flights, and that's just, definitely, if you're into this kind of stuff, it's definitely 100% cooler. But they don't necessarily get to fly to the places that you can fly in flight simulator. So some of that stuff, nobody's ever seen from above. Or in some cases, at all. What am I doing? Just turning around because what? I missed it or something. Probably. Gotcha. Final leg to LFLG. Better let them know we're on our way. Henry Garrod, that was where we landed.
Versoud, airport information, Sierra 1455, Zulu, wind 227 at 5. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky conditions, few clouds at 3,500. Temperature 26, dew point 25. Altimeter 2921. Visual, runway 22, and visual, runway 22, right in use. Landing and departing, runway 22, and runway 22, right. VFR aircraft stay direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact US Sierra.
Very cool. Very nice flight. Very nice scenery throughout there. Too bad I was talking about other stuff. Not the landmarks.
Versoud Tower, Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey November, is type Maule, M7-260, miles south of Versoud, requesting transition. Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey November, transition approved. Report clear of the Versoud Tower airspace.
The VSU? Yeah, VSU?
Will report clear. Maule, Hotel Whiskey November.
It's like backwards.
Versoud Tower, Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey November, to land. Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey November, the Versoud Tower, enter left downwind, runway 22, altimeter 2921.
Yeah, see, they were acting like, well, you're going away, yeah.
Enter left downwind, runway 22, Maule,
Coming
Hotel
in.
Whiskey November.
We're going in, Mom. It's like a France is, it's like all spread out. It's like a little neighborhood that has, you know, what, 4, 5, 6, you know, I mean, there's quite a few little houses, but then, you know, there was like a dozen, and then there isn't any for a long time, and then there's, you know, another couple of dozen, and then at least up through this area it is. I imagine that's because we're in the mountains. Down here in the bigger parts and down in these valleys, they're all crammed in together like everywhere else. Can we land this thing at a regular airport? Oh, we're going to do this, I think we're going to use the approach, aren't we? We're going to use the instruments, I think. Just for the fun of it, just to, even though it could easily fly a plane like this manually down there, ended up flying it mostly manually. So much of this flight, because you just can't, you know, you can't go straight. I could have driven around, you know, a lot, just trying to manage heading, and I did that for a little, while sometimes. Just put it on autopilot with the heading, and then move the heading knob to turn around. That's a lot of people fly that way a lot. But this one is so erratic and so much wind that if I'd have been trying to drive autopilot, that's interesting to do sometimes. Leave it on autopilot in a lot of big wind, and just, you really get the feel for flying, for sure. Because you're just, at least on screen, you're just bouncing all over the place. That's the thing I could never understand them training pilots today, even in a jet, to be in, if they're in like really bad weather. There's some of those disaster shows. If you're in like really bad weather, the wind is like really harsh, and you're trying to just leave it on autopilot and let yourself get blown away, and that autopilot can try to, I'm going to try to recorrect it, put us back on path. When at that point, it's like you should be flying the plane, because the pilot can apply forces against that can keep you from going crazily off course, and to try to actually take advantage of that wind rather than let it, in some cases, especially if you need to take advantage of the wind to climb. Nice little river beside the little kind of Versoud. We're gonna have some French cuisine. Cuisine. Yeah, so there's just what the guys did. I think with the scenery, but with the photoreal. At least that set on the rider, definitely.
Maule, Hotel Whiskey, November. You were not cleared to land. Clear the runway.
Oh, this was bizarre. Didn't he enter left downwind? Approved report. I thought he only gave me a transition approval. That's what happened. Oops, I thought I had a landing approval. Oops. Sorry, Tower. I thought we were dealing with, I thought I requested landing. I didn't think I just requested.
Maule, Hotel Whiskey, November. You were not cleared to land. Clear the runway.
I'm a bad
Maule,
boy.
Hotel Whiskey, November. Contact ground on 121.65. Going to 121.65. Maule, Hotel Whiskey. Ground, Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey, November. Request taxi to park. Maule, Hotel Bravo, Hotel Whiskey, November. Taxi to General Aviation Parking using taxiway. Taxiing to General Aviation Parking via taxiway. Maule, Hotel Whiskey, November.
Alright, for the posterity and the data dump heap. I'm gonna add to the end of this video a couple of outtakes from my first attempts at the flight, how they didn't end so normally, so peacefully as this one did. What are we doing there? I was just raining. It sounds more like rain in this case than a than an engine, but that's supposedly the wind in the engine. Shut this guy down, turn off the fuel, avionics, battery, generator. Ready to get out. I'm just gonna let this end, but there we are. There's the Maule M7-260C, M7-260C. Detailing the sounds, and there's our pilot. Thank you very much, sir. Really beautiful flight. He almost killed us a couple times. And in this past case, you did. Okay, this could get cut off. Okay. We'll show what happened at the end of the first attempt on the other day, which was this one. So we were like right here. Oh. Let's skip ahead. So here we were. Here's a outtake blooper the first time. I can cut this off if I don't want to show it. Probably shouldn't show it to be embarrassed. Look, it came down pretty good. I don't know why I didn't. And then I did, but I didn't stay down. All of a sudden, I just like whip over. Don't get down till later. And oh my God. We're almost stopped, but yeah, I should show more. That's why I show the bloopers. Who everybody likes to see, right? Stuff like that on TV. So, right. So just showing, getting all successful flights. I should just show crashes. See if there's any highlights here of anything that was any better the time before. Oh, here was the any better or worse. Here was the attempt to hit the side of this thing. I'm not going to show much. I'm not going to go back any farther. Let's go to the one last blooper. We'll go to the one that we made. What would be this one? Let's see what else, if there's any scenes in here worthwhile to keep in. Maybe a little fast forwarding. So that time, love these wing views. They just BC does such a better job of the resolution on them. There's some pretty gruesome mistakes in in these two, besides the actual death. But a few of these had some really good film. And some of them. Also, let's go past this. We saw this in the other. Seen most of all this. I'm just trying to see if there's anything worthwhile, any other place that I nearly killed this at, or any particularly nice views. I'll just kind of look through this real quick and see. That was a nice view. Yeah, that's what's just so terrible about not being able to do this live for real. Well, actually, good enough. You don't have to be able to see me crash for real, but or kind of doing this is that about me crashing, being lazy and just flying it, trying to get it done. It's like I get some really good film, and I haven't really flown it before or whatever, or to do something wrong later and just go up, I have to trash it. You only get what you get when it was one single live flight, not with no cuts and pasting. So you can see how much work I have to do. I have to actually learn how to do these flights. Get through them. I suppose I could cheat on you and just, I could just cut off the one and zip to the next one, but I don't do that. Or, and then come in on the other one or something as I've made it up. And actually, I need to start doing that because it's like, but I'll forget to save the thing. A lot of times it's like, you should have saved it, and you wouldn't have to fly the whole thing over again. But I kind of like doing these ones because there's just so much to see, and I'll think of different things, and I'm actually learning. Learn how to manage the flight better. But yeah, look at these are some nice scenes too. Probably should. Let's see here. Some really nice scenes that I didn't get to get in the original or whatever. Didn't get in the final flight. It's just probably stretching this out too long anyway. So yeah, so we're back down to there. Let's go to. So here we were coming up towards this. Past the water thing and getting close to the. This is where I needed to turn around and you need to get more altitude, and I got lazy. I decided, whatever, I wasn't watching or looking thinking that I could make it or something. Like, it was like, no way. And we started to lose altitude rather than gain right here when we really need to go up, up, up. And I realized it, I think I realized, at least I did on the last one, got my butt turned around and saved her. It's like, look, I almost did it on the final one. I mean, I almost did do this again on the final one, didn't I? But I got my thing together faster. Because this one, I'm like, oh no, what am I doing? I need to turn around and I'm not doing it. And then it was like, yeah, you're gonna stall, dude. And I stalled and we all died. So that's the way it went on that one. Alrighty, so everybody watched this. Thanks for watching. If you liked any part of it, learned anything out of it, please give a thumbs up. Keep me up there.